Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari, it's happening. The time is almost ripe to see the 7-time Formula One world champion in red. The technological evolution in the most important category of motorsport has given increasing importance to race engineers, who work closely with their drivers over race weekends. The reason is simple. Compared to the past, the multitude of real-time information available allows engineers to provide the driver with precise directions on the strategy to follow and inform them about what is happening during the race. In turn, the driver provides their collaborator sitting in the pit wall with sensations at the wheel of the car, which may align with the data gathered from the numerous sensors on the vehicles or highlight issues not detected by the monitoring devices. In this regard, we recall what Charles Leclerc experienced in the free practice sessions of the last Azerbaijan Grand Prix, where he told Bryan Bozzi that he was facing a serious drivability issue with his SF-25 and then exclaimed, "Guys, I can't drive this car anymore. I'm going to the pits." It's impossible that it's not visible from the data. As often happens, the driver's sensitivity had detected a problem with the steering box. But for top drivers, the track engineer is not just a provider of real-time technical information, but also plays the role of a true psychologist. How many times have we heard motivational team radio messages based on little white lies for good reasons? It's no coincidence that the most successful drivers have a close human relationship with their track engineer. In this regard, Michael Schumacher was a pioneer. The total trust in Ross Brawn first and Luca Baldessari later was one of the secrets behind the numerous successes of the German legend. Andrea Stella, the current world champion team principal with the historic British team McLaren, grew professionally through a long partnership with Fernando Alonso, first at Ferrari and then with the Woking-based team. At present, the most prolific professional collaboration in Formula One is that between Lewis Hamilton and Peter Bonnington, whose records could be challenged by the Max Verstappen, Gianpiero Lambiase pairing. Lewis Hamilton was unable to continue his collaboration with Peter Bonnington at Ferrari. The sudden sports betrayal by the 7-time Formula One world champion was not appreciated by the prancing horse, which swiftly shut down any potential moves of loyal figures from Mercedes to Maranello. Welcoming him will be Riccardo Adami, former track engineer for Carlos Sainz, and even earlier for Sebastian Vettel. Ricky, as Carlos Sainz used to call him, is a very skilled engineer and above all resilient, a real asset for the Maranello team. We have been following every single Formula One session via onboard footage since 2019. Therefore, we have learned to know the engineer from Brescia. We are talking about an engineer with an enormous technical background who, at the same time, is able to combine his high technical level with the practicality of information. It's hard to recall any mistakes when reflecting on the past. It is not at all trivial to establish a relationship of mutual trust with completely different drivers, as Daniel Ricciardo has been able to do. Trained at Minardi, later acquired by Red Bull, he has worked with several drivers. He was also the track engineer for Vitantonio Liuzzi, Daniel Ricciardo, and Sebastian Vettel, with whom he reunited in 2015 when the German driver was hired by Scuderia Ferrari. We are talking about an engineer who certainly isn't afraid of change, just like his driver's achievements. It should be remembered that when Sebastian Vettel arrived at Ferrari with his 4 Formula One World Championships, he was the most decorated driver on the grid by far, considering the fact that only Lewis Hamilton and Fernando Alonso had won 2. With him, in the middle of Mercedes' dominance, the Scuderia returned to victory in Malaysia at the 2nd Grand Prix. The flexibility of the Italian engineer and Lewis Hamilton's great desire to focus on every little detail will ensure that this new professional collaboration will certainly not be a problem for the team led by Frederic Vasseur. On the contrary, it will be quite interesting to see what comes out of their mutual contribution, because in our opinion, with Riccardo Adami, the British driver will learn a lot, and vice versa. A partnership that, if confirmed, could form an explosive and potentially lethal duo on the track. Just a few more days and we will know more about it. The atmosphere was charged with emotion when the checkered flag fell at the season finale in Abu Dhabi at the Yas Marina circuit, with both Ferrari and Mercedes teams experiencing a range of feelings as the 2024 campaign drew to a close. Lewis Hamilton had just secured an impressive 4th-place finish in what would be his final race in a Mercedes Formula One car. As he crossed the line, Martin Brundle noted Lewis Hamilton's memorable final lap overtake on George Russell, a fitting conclusion to their 3-year partnership, with Hamilton leaving as the team's highest point scorer. Meanwhile, Ferrari had a triumphant final outing of the season, with both Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz securing podium finishes. Despite Oscar Piastri's early spin, McLaren clinched the Constructors' Championship with Lando Norris's well-deserved victory, which denied Ferrari their long-awaited first title in 16 years. However, Lewis Hamilton would have been buoyed by the impressive performance of his future team, Ferrari, over the final months of the season. Charles Leclerc triumphed in the Italian Grand Prix, holding off McLaren's pace advantage, while Carlos Sainz's victory in Mexico City was arguably the most dominant display of his Formula One career. According to a report from Italian daily newspaper La Gazzetta dello Sport, preparations for the 2025 season are already underway at Maranello, and Ferrari may have already perfected one crucial aspect of next year's car that Hamilton will greatly appreciate. Ahead of the 2025 season, Ferrari has reportedly perfected the floor of the car, a feature that will be crucial to the British driver's success. With only minimal changes to the regulations governing the car designs from 2024 to 2025, Ferrari's focus for next year is more on evolution than revolution. Team principal Frédéric Vasseur has confirmed that fewer than 1% of the 2025 car's components will be carried over from their 2024 Challenger, signaling a refined approach to developing the new car. Fred Vasseur mentioned in a recent interview that the true competitiveness of the car would only be revealed in Bahrain. The French manager acknowledged that sometimes the risks taken are only apparent after the fact. He further explained that the car would be completely new, with less than 1% of its parts shared with the 2024 model. He emphasized that while it was a different project, this approach applied to all teams. According to a report in the Italian media, Ferrari's 2025 single-seater is expected to feature an evolved version of the experimental floor used by Charles Leclerc in Qatar. The Italian media suggests that Scuderia Ferrari's engineers and technicians have successfully refined this component, anticipating its integration into a more dynamic platform that will be even more seamlessly incorporated into the team's latest aerodynamic concept. Over the past year, it has become increasingly clear that achieving the right balance in the car is crucial, as opposed to simply maximizing downforce. This understanding is vital for Ferrari as they aim to improve upon their current design. If the team can maintain the strong performance momentum they demonstrated at the end of the 2024 season, there's every reason to believe that both Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc will be among the top contenders for the championship in 2025. The importance of learning from past mistakes, particularly with regard to mid-season updates, was clearly evident throughout the 2024 season. The extended length of the Formula One calendar provides teams with ample time and, crucially, a wealth of data to inform their decisions regarding car development. While teams like Aston Martin and Red Bull introduced updates that ultimately hindered their progress, McLaren stands out as a prime example of a team that got it right. Team principal Andrea Stella made the wise decision to delay the installation of McLaren's new floor, cautious of its potential impact on the performance of other teams. Ferrari, on the other hand, introduced a significant update in Spain that set them back for several races, with many arguing that this particular package cost them the title. To avoid repeating such mistakes in 2025, Ferrari will need to ensure they make the right calls, which would give Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc a genuine opportunity to challenge McLaren and Max Verstappen's dominance.